Okay, so yesterday we started solving equations. All right, and today we are starting to look at some equations that we refer to as inequalities. And remember, inequality is just a fancy word for these four symbols: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. All right, and those are what we're going to start seeing in our equations today. Okay, remember the two steps that we said we need to do when we solve equations. All right, we're going to have an inverse operation step, and we need to apply that to both sides. Okay, so whatever our inverse operation step is, we got to do it, and then we got to make sure we apply that to both sides. All right, so some examples. H minus 12 is greater than or equal to 22. Okay. So if you remember from yesterday, our goal is to find the missing piece, which is h. So our rule is we need to do the inverse operation, which in simple terms just means to do the opposite. All right, so if we see minus, the opposite of that would be to add 12. Instead of subtracting 12, we want to add 12. Step number 2 says we need to apply that to both sides, so we're going to add 12 over here. Now we just need to clean things up a little bit. 22 plus 12, 34. Bring down our inequality sign. Negative 12 plus 12 goes to 0. So we're left with an h is greater than or equal to 34. Solved. Okay, now once we solve an inequality, we also have to graph our inequality. Okay, and we want to keep this simple, short, and sweet. So we're only going to ask you to represent 3 numbers. Okay, so whatever value we find as the solution, we're going to place that one in the middle. And then we need the next number on each side. So this would be 33, and this would be 35. Okay, so now we got a number line so that we can graph. All right, h equals 34, so we're going to put a dot there because it equals 34. Now h has to also be greater than 34, so that would be all the values to the right of 34. So we are going to shade that half of the number line. We're going to make it bold, okay, and represent that all of the numbers greater than 34 go to the right. Okay, so basically the steps from yesterday are very, very similar. The add-on today is the graphing part. All right, let's look at another example here. Let's do 14 is less than h over negative 2. All right. So we see our division. Okay, and remember our guide up here is to do the opposite. So instead of dividing by negative 2, the opposite would be to multiply by a negative 2. All right, we want to apply that rule to both sides. So we have a times negative 2 here. Okay, 14 times negative 2 is a negative 28. Bring down our inequality. Divide by negative 2 times negative 2. That cancels, leaving us with an h. Okay, not too bad there. Now, what we talked about and what we're going to talk about is it's much easier to build this graph if the variable is first. Okay, so if you notice here, we've got the variable after. So all we need to do is a simple rewrite here and just flip all this around. We're going to put the h first, and we're going to put the negative 28 over here. Now we have to be careful. If we flip these around, we need to make sure we flip our inequality as well. Okay, so we should be building this graph. All right, so that's the one stressor right there. If you flip anything around, that is going to flip your inequality symbol. And now we just need to graph h is greater than negative 28. So as we discussed above, negative 28 goes in the center, negative 27, negative 29, Now h is greater than negative 28, but notice it's not equal to negative 28 as it was up here. When it was equal to, we're going to mark that, we're going to shade that dot completely in. Now it is not equal to negative 28, so that we're going to leave as an open circle. We're not going to shade that in. H is greater than would be all the values to the right. And again, we want to bold our graph. Okay, so that's your assignment for tonight. Do the best you can and bring any questions you have to class tomorrow. Have a good night.